All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Doom is Dead podcast, live in front of your naked, steaming eyes here on the Multiplayer Doom Federation Radio Network. I am Human Bones, and once again, joined by my good friend, Mr. Do.
Hi guys.
And I do apologize. We had some technical difficulties, but we're doing all right at the moment. So let's just get started. Um, before we talk about the last event that we ran, I would like to do a little bit of catch up on the website and explain to you guys, kind of what we're expecting to use the website for and what the progress is. Basically, when I thought about doing a website, I wanted to have it be your typical website. You have the main page for news, you got stats, whatever you want to link on the main page, and then you have your typical forums. But so the person that's creating the website said to me, "Well, what if we do something more along the lines of like a Reddit style kind of posting thing where I'll post news stories on the main site, and everyone will have an account, and they'll just be able to comment on it like that." And I kind of like that idea. I mean, it's sort of moving us into the next century, similar to the way that Discord is currently stabbing IRC in the eyes, and that sort of thing. So that's going to be the website. The website's going to be, again, just a place where we can post news, post stories, post information for any events that we're going to run. But also, it's going to have a bracket system that can morph itself, to it's going to be able to adapt to any kind of game mode that we're going to use. So the major tournaments that we're planning, they involve things like Team Last Man Standing, FFA, Team Deathmatch, that sort of thing. So the brackets will be able to, reflect the game mode that we're doing. So obviously, we can't and we shouldn't launch a big event like that without having some brackets or some way to track things because, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but last week when I tried to use, or 2 weeks ago when I tried to use an Excel spreadsheet to track a duel tournament, it didn't work out so well, and there were only 12 people that played. So, I'm not getting into that. I'm not going to open up that can of worms, but so yeah, I mean, the website is coming along. Everyone that registers on the website, you'll register for an account. You'll be able to post on the news stories. Uh, you know, so we're almost reaching the beta stage. So bigger things are coming, and I know there's been a few people have asked me what's been going on. So I just kind of wanted to set the record straight. I know it seems like maybe nothing's really going on, but you don't want to jump into something without being fully prepared. So that's the story on that. Um, so 2 weeks ago, we ran our first Prague Duel tournament, and I mean, overall, I thought it went well. 12 people signed up. It's definitely a different kind of thing for people to play. So you had some people that maybe hadn't even experienced it before they jumped into a server to play their opponent. So it was really interesting to see the way that people adapted to it. So
Right.
basically,
And
yeah, go
it
ahead.
was also like it was basically a new school tournament with all of the advanced port features like jumping and mouse look and everything. So and of course item respawn. So actually not knowing the maps was really punishing for anyone who
Yes.
just jumped in and had no idea what they were like coming for, because there was a really strong that quake effect where you just get erased by your opponent who controls the map, who controls the items and everything.
Yeah, and one of the complaints that I've heard about it was that you have this group of people that, so it's kind of a very how would you describe it? Maybe like a very insular kind of group of people
Right.
that have been playing this game mode. So there's a bunch of people that have gotten really good at it, and then there's the other people that just picked it up, like myself. I mean, I just sort of picked it up um, maybe about a month ago, and So there is a little bit of a discrepancy in the skill level.
Right, yeah,
So
like there's a steep skill curve,
yes,
and those who are already far ahead will just have an insane advantage.
yeah. Well, basically, it starts. Ivan is number one, and then everyone else is number two. It's basically what it is, and that was kind of the biggest complaint was that Ivan played
Right,
somebody
yeah.
that wasn't necessarily that great in round one. So um, we've come up with a bit of a newer system for the
Right,
second
yeah.
week.
Well, let's we can name names. He was playing Joelia and he completely destroyed him.
Yes.
And uh, that followed into round two where he played me. And in the first round, I did fairly well on the first map because there wasn't such a item heavy map. And on the second map, which was Ivan's own map, I finished with one frag. And for half of the game, I tried to get out of negative score. So this can get pretty brutal, you know.
It
So
can, and I think that's you know. So like we said about a month ago when we had our first podcast, there's going to be a lot of trial and error. There's going to be a lot of taking something and throwing it against the wall, see if it sticks.
mhm.
And
So yeah,
I
our first idea was just playing these new school maps with best of three style. Like that should give more time to adapt, more time to strategize. But since many people had no idea what maps to pick, like what's actually my strong map, what's my weak map, it was like a lot of these games were just 2-0 with like no chance of actually competing with the other guy. So yeah, we're going to try to mm, diversify the system to yeah kind of uh, basically give a chance to the weaker players to have a game before they like run into these monsters.
yes, and oddly enough, I think my games were the only ones that went to 3 rounds, and
Hmm.
I think it speaks to my history as a Doom player, not being able to close out the bigger games. But but
Actually, didn't your game with DK go to like one frag,
it
one
did.
shot difference in round three?
It did. So I think I won the first round. Decay won the second round, and then yeah, it was round three. I think So what we did was we did up to 20 frags because um, anything more, people don't have the attention span for that anymore. Everyone's checking Twitter in the middle of
Right, yeah,
D5M1 games and stuff.
it was 20 frags and 10 minutes,
Yeah.
both a time limit and a frag limit.
So I'm up like 19 to 15 or 16 or something, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself as you would, still cautious, but and then he just rattles off 3 frags, and I'm like, well, this is this sucks, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, and I think I thought that I thought he had a lower health, so I think I kind of attacked him a little bit, and I just landed like what is essentially it was a lucky shot because I think he missed a shot that probably would have killed me, and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
so it was my games were actually a lot of fun until I
And we
I
would
moved on to play Ivan on map 14,
yeah,
which was like
and he destroyed everyone. So
yeah.
we would actually want to all of the games be like that, like the 3 rounders that are really close. So why don't you tell us what we thought about?
Right. So what we're gonna do next or tomorrow really. So tomorrow is everything's on the fly here, and you never know how things are gonna pan out until you actually do them. So I had an idea, which was to do every other week a, a tournament that's hosted on a United States server, and then a tournament that's hosted somewhere in Europe. So it's going to be every other week, like I said. And tomorrow is the European one. So tomorrow we're going to try out a system where we have a qualifying round, as long as there's enough people to play. And so it's kind of keeping the people that maybe feel like, if they get matched up against really anybody, or specifically Ivan or someone like that, in the first round, that they're going to lose 20-0. At least they have a chance in a qualifying round to say, hey, I'm still learning how to do this, but I'm not,
Yeah.
a keyboard player or whatever, So it's at least a chance to kind of get your foot in the door and get a feeling for
Right.
what we're kind of playing here.
Right. Basically, yeah. If you're not a top tier player, you basically go play the qualifier. You get a match against an probably evenly skilled player. And if actually we were discussing that maybe if there's like a smaller number of players, which it does look like it's going to happen right now, we might even try the loser bracket, which would basically give you a second match against another player who also lost their match. So it means more games, it means a longer tournament, but since the signups aren't as high as for the American tourney, it should be still a fairly quick event.
Yeah, and I think basically the idea behind this, and again, we have talked about this last episode, but it's not all about being competitive. It's more about having fun and kind
Right.
of doing things that we haven't done or haven't been done in organized well, that sort of thing. So, there's going to be a lot of growing pains, and I'm okay with having like a 6-player tournament, but the ideal situation is that people start playing this and they're like, oh, hey, this is pretty good. I'm not very good at it, but I'll keep at it, and it catches on as something. But um, I think maybe having, either having a qualifying round depending on the amount of players, or having a losers bracket, at least gives you an incentive to try again and get better. And I
Right.
think
Yeah.
I think
You come to play Doom and you're out of the tourney in 5 minutes, and it's not fun. Like you set out the afternoon for it or something, and then like, so what now? Well, sorry, you're out.
yeah,
It's deflating, to be honest.
it is. And I mean, I think we spent more time trying to figure out my convoluted brackets than we did actually playing some of the games, unless your name is Ty. But um, yeah, it is. It's deflating. So it's really about just trying to make it as enjoyable as possible for everybody. And the idea. August has been kind of a test run. We're going to test this out tomorrow, see how it goes, and review it after that. But I mean, I thought I didn't have any complaints about like not having fun last week. So I mean, that was kind of a positive moment throughout the whole thing. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I think one thing that contributed to it being actually fun is, well, one of the things. First, there wasn't actually a dual tourney happening in quite a lot of time. So, like, even like the new people, of course, they had no complaints about trying something new, and the old people were like, well, this hasn't been around for actually quite a few years. And I think we picked actually a very good map set. So we will probably going to continue with this map set even into the future, which
you
you
mean for the
probably,
5 maps that we chose, or
well, not exactly those same 5 maps, but I mean keeping with the map set itself.
yes, yeah. Um, the idea behind the map set is that you pick. It was going to be kind of a 4-month cycle, which is my original idea, where you pick 5 maps, and throughout that 4-month period, you play those 5 maps. At the end of it, maybe you pick 5 new maps from the same map set. But then we decided, okay, well, once a month, we'll take 5 maps. We'll take the most popular and the least popular, axe them from contention, and then have people vote on the new map list. So I mean, I thought that was kind of a cool way to keep things cycling. But yeah, I mean, you kind of stay with the same map set.
Yeah, because it actually proved to be like working really well. The alternative weapon set is cool. The maps are competently done, and it's just a lot of fun to try this new school system.
It is, and I wish, like, in an ideal situation, you'd have you maybe have some dual tournaments that kind of cycle between NS and OS type stuff. But I just don't see many people these days going, "Oh, I play me on Judas 23." I mean, it's kind of like so 10 years ago or whatever.
You probably would get the players, like they would like crawl out of the woodwork, like all of the old players would suddenly like, oh, I've heard there's a Judas tourney, sign me up. But it's not exactly in the spirit of trying the new things we're trying. Like, we may come to that later on, but right now we have all these cool radical new ideas, and we want to try them out before we retread the old grounds, the old map sets, and maybe even CDF tournaments.
Right. We're like, you ever listen to the Flaming Lips at all?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't really either, but I've listened. They're a pretty they're kind of an experimental rock band, but so then they went off and they did a full cover of like Sgt. Pepper, the Beatles album. They did it with Miley Cyrus, and it's kind of like that in a sense. Like, it's not that extreme, but what we're trying to do, we're not trying to make Dark Side of the Moon over again. We want to do a Beatles cover with Miley Cyrus. We want to push the envelope in a way that is still fun. So, hopefully people will bear with us. I mean, it seems like there's still some enthusiasm for it, and I don't know. I think it's a really neat idea to have this map set with some different weapons, and they've tweaked kind of the effectiveness of the weapons and who's knocking on my door. So it's just something different. So I hope people are behind that. Otherwise,
right? Yeah.
There's not much point in continuing to do this. So, I'm just kind of rambling now. But we have a point system. Kind of my idea behind doing this was a point system that you could kind of track throughout a cycle. Meaning, if you have 5 maps and you do, you do the best of 3, or you have a certain amount of settings, then throughout that cycle, which could last from anywhere from like 2 to 4 months, then you have a leaderboard full of people that collect points, and then at the end of the cycle, you go, oh, Ivan won this leaderboard, on to the next one, and then you change it. You have like 7 frags is the limit, and maybe you have a 3-minute time limit or whatever it is. So it's really just kind of going with. It reminds me of this Nautilus tournament that there was a player named Nautilus, and he decided to do a tournament that he posted on Doom World, and he was like, "We're going to go to 37 frags," and people were like, "What?" But I mean, it's kind of like that. It's just doing something different, trying to reignite what I think.
Yeah, and it's not as serious as it always used to be. Like the aura of like the official. This may be the last tournament ever, and like whoever wins this is the king of the universe.
Right.
and it's like d5 m1, so everyone should train hard. You don't have to with this, like.
If you don't sign up for this, we're only going to have 5 captains, and then we can't have a season. Like it's not
Oh
like
God.
that at all. It's
Right.
but
Like that effect where you feel like you have to participate, like it's either that
right.
or the entire thing is going to die and it's all your fault.
So we have a newly revised point system that you came up with. That
Right. Yeah.
it
So
looks
this was
it's very simplistic. So I'll let you
uh-huh.
explain
Yeah.
that.
I based it off the old system we used back in when I was running the Demon Euro tournaments, which was like, holy shit, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't talk about anything that was older than last week. So
And yeah, we also like we ran 2 tourneys a month, one old school, one new school. We had separate leaderboards for both, and like basically we had a point system that like showed you who the top dog is, and it was also used for seeding. Like it was still like pseudo randomized inside certain like groups, but
right.
we didn't want like the top players to meet in round 1, so we're going to go with that again. Like we're not going to seed everything with perfect like determinism, because that's we tried it in those demon tourneys and it was not fun. Like you started meeting the same guy in the same round month after month, and that's not fun. So yeah, there's still going to be some randomization, but we don't want basically like player like seed 1 meeting seed 2 before the finals, basically.
Right.
And but these seeds are not like going to like these points are not going to stay with you like forever. We're going to use like this sort of tennis system, like the ATP point system, where the points are removed after a year. Like you have to defend them. We're probably going to, since Bones was talking about a shorter cycle, like it's a 4-month cycle. Like a year is probably too much by now. So basically, after 4 months, you will have to start defending the points you had in the previous cycle. Otherwise, you will start losing your seed. But of course, for the leaderboard, it will be restarted every cycle. So it's not like the winner of the previous cycle will be like even on the top of the leaderboard.
Right.
What
And so,
else?
I mean that keeps things, that keeps
Right,
things fresh.
the actual values, right? So in the in the past, we basically just issued some values, like whoever wins the tourney gets 50 points, whoever is the runner-up gets like 30 points, stuff like that.
Right. Like, you get a car. You get a car. That kind of thing.
This time we're trying to do something different, because the qualifier rounds and the loser bracket rounds would be really, really complex to work out like that. So we're just going to add up points for whatever round you win. Like you win the first qualifier round, you get 1 point. You win another qualifier round, you get another point. You win the first round, you get 2 points, and you add this up. So we probably won't have nice values in the end. So the winner might end up with like, I don't know, 42 points or something, which is not as nice as 50, but it might be like better for our sanity and for actually like evaluating this more complex bracket tree we're trying out. I don't know. It's like maybe it's not as simple when I'm talking about it, but if you actually look at like the bracket and you just start adding the points, it's really simple. So hopefully it
Yeah.
will work.
No, I think it should. I mean, it's very similar. I mean, it's simplified. For me, I came up with a point system last week that, I mean, we had people playing on 3 different servers, and I couldn't keep track. I mean, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, which is somewhat embarrassing. But at least the tournament finished. So I think it's good to keep a set of points that not only for me but for the players that can understand. So yeah, I mean, it's again, it's just about trying to do things that are a little bit different. So here we have Prague Duel tournaments. You've got a set of maps, a set of weapons that you're not used to, and these maps, by the way, were specifically designed for this type of gameplay. So there's only 16 of them in this map pack, but they're all like vastly different. I mean, it's crazy to me that something like this wasn't done before. So I don't know. It seems like an interesting direction to go in. I mean, if you're going to sit here and talk about trying to move Doom forward, I mean, you can't keep, like you've said, retreading the past. So
Right, yeah.
hope
This actually reminds me of something like DK wrote recently, like this idea that the community seems dead because it's like stopped in its tracks and just playing the same old stuff. And but like the single player community is still moving forward because there's creativity. Like you have people trying out new things, like improving constantly and churning out new content. But in multiplayer, like the new content has really slowed down, and everyone's like happy with what we already have, and just playing the same old maps over and over. Just those few that are universally declared like the golden standard. Nothing else needs to be played at all,
right.
and this gets super tiring. Like over time, you will start shedding people. Like I'm already tired of this. Call me if something interesting happens, and nothing interesting ever happened. Like it was the same deal over and over.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. I mean, if you sit here and you look at it now, if you're somebody that's played in it, what we're really referring to are the competitive CTF leagues that have existed
Right.
for about a decade. And so if you sit here right now and let's say you're on the other side of it, and you're like, wow, I was really sick of that about 3 years ago, but I kept playing because no one else was doing anything. That's not really a good feeling because. I mean,
Hmm.
as much as I enjoy the people that I played with, it was just kind of like, uh, you know, what the WDL and the IDL used to do was they would create a WAD every year and they would put different maps in it. But sometimes you get maps. It's like, okay, this map is from 2004. We played this about 500 million times 3 years ago, but we haven't played it for 3 years. So let's throw it in again. It's like, well, I still have the experience of playing this map over and over again. So it's kind of like the same thing. And things just don't evolve. And
Hmm.
you know, before we get too far into that discussion, I just want to say, for the Prague Duel thing, um, again, we are going to have our European session tomorrow. Signups are open until about 30 minutes before it starts, which it's going to start at 7:30 GMT or 8 p.m. Central Europe time. So you
Hmm.
have a little bit of time there to decide if you're going to be around tomorrow. Um, so we would really uh, enjoy and appreciate anyone that wants to come in and try something new and help us out. But I mean, let's talk a little bit more about kind of the direction that we think the multiplayer Doom community should go into, because it's not really a big secret anymore about the shift in administrations on Zandronum, for example. There's going to be a new head administrator, and he's going to try and turn the website into a more interactive thing. He's going to try and make Discord more of a thing that people pay attention to.
Right.
So
Forum and IRC are already like really, really not a thing that can drive a multiplayer community. Like, sorry guys, but it's really like, have you if you've been on IRC lately, it's just a fucking wasteland. Like there's
it
nothing.
is. It's the wasteland is the perfect word. I mean, it's
So
just yeah. So I mean, there's so many directions we could go in, but there's just a lacking. There's just a lacking of enthusiasm.
yeah,
There's a lacking of.
but we get a pretty good chance at actually like collaborating with them, maybe even like they're trying a new
Yes.
thing, they're trying to steer things in the new direction, we're trying the same. Maybe something cool might come out of this.
Well, the first thing that something that's really been on my mind, and this was actually going to be a thing at one point in time. Dragon was going to run a team last man standing league, basically that sort of emulated, the WDL, the IDL. It had a team, it had captains with a draft system, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, TLMS is my favorite thing in the world. So when we actually do go out and launch the website and have a big event like that, TLMS is the thing that I would like to run first. But it's hard. It's hard to get people to play game modes that aren't like straight frag, straight like grab the flag. Like it's just, it seems like it's even right now. I mean, it just seems with these Progduel things like it's an uphill battle, and I just don't understand why. I mean, I thought like the Zandronum community itself was a lot more open to things that were different. I mean, I couldn't even tell you some of the game modes that they have on there. So that that's, I don't know. I felt like it was they were a little bit more receptive, and I think we're
like third of the players were the same old people from IDL. A third of the players were people from Doom World, basically, and just a third were like the people from Zandronum. I expected a bigger turnout.
Yeah, and I'm just, I mean, it's okay. I don't.
Yeah,
things start slowly. I mean, we don't even have a website yet, but still, I'm just surprised. Like I thought.
Well, yeah, we're actually like probably people aren't actually used to anything going on.
It's true. I mean, I've definitely spent more time kind of paying attention to different players and stuff like that now than I have in the last couple of years. But I guess basically, along with these different events, I wonder, and we talked about this a little bit before the broadcast, but if I had an event, let's say, and it was kind of an event that was geared towards underplayed WODs, maybe things that were a little off the cuff, things that maybe fell under the table or whatever. I would think that would attract a lot of people. Like, oh, I've never played this before, but I mean, I want to know how sustainable like something like that is. I mean, I wonder if it's worth it. I just don't know if it is.
Some kind of competitive ZDS.
Well, yeah.
FNF.
Kinda something like that, like an FNF a weekly type event. Something that where you're not playing UDMX for the 87th time or whatever it is. I mean, maybe we come to find out that that's it. That's what people want to do. But I mean, I have so many ideas about what we could do. I just wonder how sustainable and how interested people are going to be in them.
Well, actually, not long before the podcasts, DK, who can't be with us because he's sleepy, he kind of started, reviving the idea of running another season of his 2 versus 2 TDM tournament, which would also be extremely welcome because the first season was a lot of fun, and while some of the maps that were picked up were kind of like stinkers, there were
Yeah.
also some really great picks there, and it just proved to be a really interesting and fun tournament. So like there's this I don't know if we probably advertise this right, we will probably get the turnout because he got a lot of players participating. So there's still like people who want to play DM.
Hmm.
It's just a way of like bringing them back to the fold.
Yeah, and I know he did that on his own, so it would be nice. I would love to help him, you know, do a bunch of things like even streaming a TDM game.
Mhm.
Commentating on it and sitting there, and that would be a lot of fun. And we have a lot of things in the works, but one of the things that we also wanted to do was, which you brought up, which I think is a really good idea, is to duel on some maps, and sort of it streams us
Oh, right.
playing, and
Right.
then we'll go back and we'll say, okay, like this is why I do this and this is why I do that, and it's
Uh-huh.
more of a
Like
almost like
analyzing the
Devastation's
game.
Doom Bible kind of,
Uh-huh.
but maybe a little bit more flavorful.
Yeah, show the example, then come back to it and start analyzing. This is why something in the map is like really cool, and this is why people like the map. But there's this point in the map where like, oh, everyone hates this. This was a really bad idea, and this could go like we could play new maps or even the old classics. Like that's
Yeah,
something I would really want to explore, like explaining the process on new maps where the mapper can still, like, I don't know, take the feedback and improve it, or we can just jump on Dwango 5M1 or something.
ooh, sorry, my mic was off. Yeah, no, it would be funny to, like as I think about D5M1, like I would love to play Ty during one of these sessions, because, and I've talked about this a million times, but Ty will just like spawn, run for the BFG, spawn, run for the BFG, and I would love to analyze the thought process behind doing the same thing over and over again. But yeah, I think it's uh, I think it's definitely something that we've been missing. When you were 10 years ago, if you're just starting out and you're trying to get better, and you have some admiration for some of these players. You can watch a demo, but you don't really understand like why they did something. So um, I think that would be really interesting to do. Hopefully some people would be interested in watching that. But also, when it comes to having like the weekly event, so such as like Doom Shack plays, which kind of revolves around Doom Kid's schedule. But the event that I was talking about, the Sunday event, if you just get into a voice chat server and stream what everyone is saying about the game and stuff. That kind of stuff is really enjoyable, and that's probably the best way right now to get people in. Like the WDL streams where you had some commentary and people screaming and all this kind of stuff. That was a lot of fun. So I think that's kind of the direction we should go in.
Right, yeah, it's the 21st century, and just making a thread on forums and dumping demos there. That's just not going to cut it anymore.
No, nobody watches demos anymore. I used to do that all the time. I even used to load up shoot.wad and play like I'd spawn like 7 bots and I would play them just to get my aim going. And I don't even do that anymore. I mean, it's like whatever. But you know, I think it's going to be a long road for us. But hopefully, as things get going, people start to show a little bit more interest. Again, I would like to say, hopefully people don't lose interest before our website comes up, but it is on the way, I promise. And I'm really looking forward to being able to do TLMS and FFA, and I think Decay mentioned that he would like to start doing some 2 versus 2 TDM, like just some sort of informal stuff to see who's interested. So I would be around this weekend to see if he's going to try and corral some people, but yeah. Um, I got nothing else.
Yeah, me neither. I guess this is it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing behind these Prague Duel tournaments is it is something new. It's not something that everyone is going to be accustomed to right off the bat. But last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a lot of fun. I mean, we sat on voice chat and we talked to each other even throughout our games, and
Right,
we had
yeah,
we had
that
somebody
was
streaming.
actually interesting. I've never like encountered that before, because there was actually a tourney, and in the end, like most of the people just ended up in the same voice chat on Discord, and like those two opponents who were playing were still sitting there, and
Yeah,
like everyone was just talking to them all the time. That's like not completely healthy for your performance, but it improved the mood quite a lot.
it did, and I think I had to turn it off when I was playing Decay, like midway through the second round.
Mm,
And then I just joined back up again when I was playing Ivan because I'm not going to win anyway, so I may as well hear what everyone has to say. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's almost like building a cool little community.
right,
Um,
that's what we're actually trying to do, like
yes,
rebuild from the scratch, because what we had was kind of like the community of the old. uh, I'm not saying that the community is completely dead, and that, or it's like, I don't know, we don't want to have anything to do with them. But
some of them maybe, but
that
most of them no.
yeah, that community got kind of like tired and entrenched in the same rituals, and it became kind of like toxic. Like you you wouldn't look forward to meeting everyone.
Oh God, no.
And so like we're trying to rebuild it from the scratch, like a bit more friendly, less jaded.
And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like in the past I was the most friendly person because I'm sure
Oh
that I was
god.
not.
Oh god, like I wasn't for sure.
And that's okay, but you know,
Yeah, like no one's telling you to like guard your language in a multiplayer channel. Like fuck, hell no. Like, but like it it just started to be tiring, to just people were beefing all the time without actually playing, just
yeah.
rubbing it in all the time.
Well,
I don't know.
one of the greatest things that I've seen is actually somebody. I think it's Mobius. He has a signature on the Zandrona forums, which is a quote from you, and it says, "Do you think
Yeah.
you're special? I've spent years arguing with Mobius, Genova, No Star," and that's like, it's great. I mean, that's one of those things that I swear to God I will remember in 20 years because it's so true. It just The best word that I can use is de-evolution. It devolved into something that you could only describe if you were there. And so, much like what they're trying to do on Zandronum, sometimes you have to trim the fat, and if the fat is, 90% of your community, it is what it is. But you have to start new, and you have to try and build from the ground up. So
just accept the new rules, guys. If you want to be a part of the new community, that's you can. Everyone's welcomed. Well, almost everyone.
I think everyone should be welcome as long as they come in and they don't start off giving
with
a first
the same old bullshit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. With the same old bullshit. And we've seen like 2 people that do that. That I
right off the bat. Right off the
bat.
No,
yeah, right off the bat. It's like, and that's it. It's just, you know what? I don't have to look at your name on my computer screen. I'm just going to wipe you from it. Goodbye. And that's it. That's what you have to do. It sounds cold, but trying to wrap up, heading towards the exit here, but I have a lot of ideas that I feel like things that have been lacking. The streaming is one thing.
We'll probably leave them for the next time, because some of them are still like half cooked ideas. We're still.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even say half cooked. I would say the oven is still broiling at this stage, but I mean, streaming is a big thing. I think streaming was a big part of a lot of the WDL success in the last couple seasons. So we're going to try to amp that up, as well as my personal goal is to get some new maps. And however the hell I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it. But whether it's in an event or a tournament, or go ahead.
Right. That's actually, yeah. At one point I was heading there, but then I forgot the idea. That's one thing DK was talking about as well. Like there's this cycle that like the players are interested in new stuff. So you have to have this cycle of creators creating new stuff and players like consuming it, so they stay interested and don't leave for something fresher. And that's what's actually kind of sort of missing in multiplayer. And when you look at the scene this year, basically the hot new thing is the Quake Champions Doom Edition.
Yep.
And that has insane following. Like it's a separate community by this point. So like if you create new content, you will get players coming in, new players. Old players will stay interested, but not if you just solidify the best maps of all time and we're sticking with these maps forever. So I'm definitely in favor of some sort of mapping project for whatever mod we decide.
Yeah, and whether it's something, I think things that we've seen happen with these larger mapping projects is that it could take anywhere from like, a week to 4 years to release something. And it's like, well, I really think, despite the fact that some of the quality might not be on par with what you'd expect, but 32 and 24 really knows what it's doing. It just says, okay, we're doing this. You have 24 hours. That's it. Then we're going to release it. You need stuff like that, because I mean, not every map is going to be awful. I mean, maybe the co-op 32 and 24 was pretty bad, but something like that. Maybe it's 8 and 48. Here, make 8 maps. You have 2 days to do it. We'll test it. We'll get some critiquing. You fix it, and then we release it. And I mean, that's probably the best way to go about it. So if anyone is interested in mapping, that's one of the major ideas that I have.
deathmatch mapping was always about like trying something, like throwing it at a wall and just watching and taking notes what sticks. Like,
Yeah.
this works, this doesn't work. That's it.
Yep.
You can't save every map in multiplayer. Something just won't work no matter what you do.
Well, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover tonight. Like we said, the Prague Duel tournament that's happening tomorrow. You're open to signing up till about 30 minutes beforehand. We're gonna try the new format with the qualifying rounds and the points, and August is kind of a test month, so things won't really start get going until September.
Right.
The MDF website is coming. I promise you. We have gotten the account registration done. We have the ability to post news. It's really just kind of tinkering and finishing up the ability to comment on said news posts. So it's coming, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, hopefully, anyone that's listening, even though it says right now we have 0 viewers, uh, anyone that listens to this in between now and 7:30 p.m. GMT tomorrow, Saturday, August 18th. Hopefully, you decide to sign up. But we have what I think is a bright future. A lot of good ideas ahead of us. So it's really just a matter of focusing in and honing that ADHD that I have and getting it focused on one thing at a time. I don't know if you have anything else to say before we say goodbye.
Yeah,
But
no, goodbye. Pretty much. No.
all right. Well, yes. Goodbye, and we will try to do another one of these shortly. But thank you to everyone who's listening. Thank you to Do. See you guys next time.